Hey guys, there's something I wanted to talk to you about today. So on September 26th of this year, 2023, the new DLC expansion for Cyberpunk 2077 is scheduled to come out. So it has this look of this really cool like espionage action thriller, and it's called Phantom Liberty. Even though I don't normally make videos like this on my channel, I wanted to today, since this seems like a really big DLC that's coming up, and it's going to be the only DLC like this that's going to be coming for Cyberpunk 2077. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys everything we know so far about Phantom Liberty. The video will have multiple sections, so for your convenience, I have included timestamps down below if you want to jump to a particular section of the video. Without further ado, let's get into it. First up, I wanted to talk about the gameplay. Now, one of the most notable things is there's supposed to be a new skill tree with full different abilities coming out. Not too many details are known about that right now, but this is from Dexerto.com. Now, also, one thing that seems very likely is that there will be a new region of the map opened up specifically for this DLC. This is from Radio Times. Not all the details are known about this right now, but the name Dogtown has been floated around a lot. And most likely, this is the region that Radio Times is referring to. There's going to be this new region called Dogtown, and Dogtown is supposed to be very different from all the other regions in the game. Now, according to Cyberpunk's fandom page, if we look at Dogtown, it's apparently the region of the city that is supposed to be the most dangerous in the entire city, which is really saying a lot when you consider Night City. I'm sure most of you are familiar about how it's supposed to be like just lawless in some parts, and this part, Dogtown, is truly supposed to be lawless, and it's only supposed to be the domain of this very corrupt sort of military dictator known as Colonel Hansen. So I could definitely see Colonel Hansen being an important side character in the DLC. One thing I will say, and this is more of a desire than anything, is I really hope that the combat system will be revamped. It's just that I think a lot of times there were problems with it, with like really crappy AI that were just not really engaging at all to fight with. And I noticed in the trailer they had like, parts where you're fighting some like this enormous like machine that just seems really cool to fight, but this sort of machine creature. But at the same time, it's like if the combat stays and with some of the flaws that it had when the game originally came out back in 2020, then it might be less fun than we might expect. So hopefully they really give it some time and really fix the combat. That's one thing I would probably like to see more than anything else. I just feel like a lot of times the AI sucked so much that you had to just find these like really like cheap, sort of really uninteresting ways to defeat your opponents, and it really kind of ruined the game, or at least put a serious damper on it. So let's move on to the story section now. Now, if I had to use one word to capture the essence of this upcoming DLC, I would probably say espionage, because it seems to deal a lot with that, like corrupt corporate agents and government agents and that sort of thing, and like spying. And it really reminds me quite a bit of a couple of different characters and missions in the original game, like that corporate woman, Meredith Stout. And there was like a mission where you had to look out for this like rich corporate couple. So we're probably going to be going back in that direction, except I think it'll be especially exciting this time around. So yeah, all this stuff with like corrupt government, corporation, espionage, and just being like some kind of government agent during this DLC. I mean, it all sounds really fun, provided it doesn't get too repetitive. So I really hope they find ways to mix it up. So on a quick note, Idris Elba will be appearing in the game, and according to Dexerto, he will be playing the role of a NUSA agent. NUSA is a new United States of America, like a even more corrupt, futuristic version where the world has already gone to crap, And then Nusa are the people that Idris Elba is working for. And also it seems likely the people that your character is going to be working for while you play through the DLC. So yeah, we have it from radiotimer.com that your character will be swearing an oath to help Nusa. According to them also, this is a very bad idea. Anyway, while there technically is more that I could mention in this video, I'm not going to because some of it could be considered a spoiler. So that's it for the story aspects for now. So let's talk about the famous cast that's being included in this DLC. Idris Elba is of course the new big star, but there are others as well. First, regarding Elba, for those of you who don't know, he's been in famous movies like Fast and Furious and American Gangster, and famous shows such as The Wire and Luther, and will be making an appearance in this game as Nusa agent Solomon Reed. I think it'd be pretty fair to assume that, like Keanu Reeves was in the original game, Idris Elba's character will play a pretty significant role in the DLC, most likely. Especially since they're probably paying him so much money to be in the game. So, according to Dexerto, another person who will be featured in the game as a radio host, an in-game radio host, is Sasha Grey. Now, Dexerto refers to her as a Twitch streamer, but I know some of you may know her from somewhere else. Regardless of where you know her from, she's playing a radio host called Ash in the game that has like a specific radio station apparently. Since she's going to be a radio host though, it's pretty unclear whether a character model of her will appear in the game or if it'll just be her voice that we're hearing over the radio. Lastly, Keanu Reeves will of course be returning in the DLC as well. Okay, now let's talk a bit about the pricing and the possibility of pre-ordering. So the game's set to release on September 26, 2023, but there is a possibility that it will be delayed. More on that later. So the DLC is a bit pricey. It goes for $30. But if you don't have the game yet, you might want to consider getting the bundle from Steam. Here on Steam US, they have the game with this DLC bundled together for about $83, whereas you would be paying $90 if you bought them separately. Okay, regarding pre-ordering, I would really not recommend for most people to pre-order this DLC, even though pre-orders are live. And that's largely because of the release in 2020 of the original game. And we all know how badly that went, how bug-riddled that game was at launch. So for that reason, I would really not recommend pre-ordering this unless you're going to do so through Steam. And the reason is that through Steam, Steam's return policy is a lot better, and you can actually get 2 weeks after the game launches still to get your money back for a pre-order. Anytime before the game launches or 2 weeks after, you can get your money back as long as you haven't played the game for over 2 hours. So if you want to pre-order on Steam, go ahead, but there also seems to be no point, or at least not much of a point, unless you want to play it for like 2 hours and then return it or something. Kind of seems like more trouble than it's worth though. So anyway, be careful with pre-orders on the other platforms. If you want to pre-order on Steam, go for it, I guess. Just make sure to watch what the reviews are saying in the first 2 weeks after the DLC launches, whenever that may be. So unfortunately for some people, this game will not be coming to PS4 or to the Xbox One, although I doubt most of you care, because the reality is that I doubt very many of you are playing the original game, I mean the base game, on either of the last-gen consoles because of how badly it ran on them. I mean, there was such a big controversy about that. I can only imagine how much worse the DLC, which has a lot of like graphical improvements and that sort of thing, is going to run on those consoles. So I get why they didn't put this game on last-gen consoles. It's fair. Of course, it still kind of sucks to see though, because I'm sure there are some people out there who would like to play the game but can't because of this. However, hopefully it means that CDPR will be able to really focus on higher end hardware, and then the game will run a lot better than the game did when it came out in 2020. So hopefully the DLC will not break the game in noticeable ways. Okay, another important thing that I think we should talk about is the possibility of a delayed release of this DLC. I think we need to acknowledge there's a very significant chance that the DLC will be delayed given CDPR's track record. So the original game was delayed at least 3 times, and it still had a horribly buggy launch. Now, fingers crossed that CDPR learned from their past mistakes, but there's definitely a chance the DLC will be either delayed, or if not delayed, that it will also be released in a horribly bug-filled state. I prefer a delay to that, honestly. So yeah, if it seems like 3 months from the time of the posting of this video is a lot to wait for the new DLC, then just brace yourselves, because it might very well be more than 3 months. Then again, it might be 3 months. CDPR might have gotten their act together now. There's really no way of knowing now. But if you've got a burning desire to play some Cyberpunk, which I would not blame you, one thing that Screen Rant suggests is in the meantime, start a new save and start playing, because once a DLC comes out, it is supposed to come out with a lot of new graphical updates as well as overhauls of certain mechanics of the game. So if you're just starting a new save, it might be a great time to sink your teeth in more into the DLC. Or at least what I'm saying is, I think it's probably not a good idea to just not have any save going at all and just jump into the DLC. Like, you want to ease your way into it, like have a save going already, and then when the DLC comes out, jump into that and get all the updates to your graphics and all the game mechanics and all that. But that's just a suggestion. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope to make another video soon, and as usual, you can leave any suggestions for future videos that you want to see in the comments. I hope to see you all in the next one.